All right, let's look at the notable incentives for the weekend here. Plenty of big ones on the board. Patrick Mahomes and Justin Jefferson are the two that jump out in terms of records here, guys. Mahomes needs a monster game here. 430 passing yards would break Peyton Manning's single-season record. Here's the good news. He's got the Raiders.
Yeah, they've allowed the fourth most passing yards this season as well. And 5 different times Mahomes has hit this number where he's had at least 430 passing yards. So maybe, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are not like, I don't know, Sean Payton and Drew Brees back in the day where they're just like, hey, we're blatantly going for records. But if they get close, you could see them going for it a little bit here.
Absolutely. And look, I don't think he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who'd be obsessed with getting this. But, I mean, if it's there, if he's at 393 and there's 3 minutes left in the game, then why not heave one up?
Yeah. But I will tell you, while we don't think this, the next player, I think, is somebody that would actually really try to get this record.
Yeah, 100%. So Justin Jefferson needs 194 receiving yards to break Calvin Johnson's record. And normally, for any normal human being, you're like, that's way too much. Not for Justin Jefferson. He's already done it once this year with we had 220-plus in that loss against the Lions. And then also, this Bears pass defense was already terrible. Now it's super banged up. Jefferson, after what Jair Alexander and the Packers did to him, he's going to be a man on a mission. So I think it's in play.
I mean, he's been very vocal about saying, like, I think I'm the best wide receiver in the NFL. Me over Cooper Kupp. Why not me this year? Week 5 against this very same Bears defense, 12 for 154. And to your point, the Bears defense much worse now than it was in Week 5. So that'll be fun to watch. Justin Jefferson, 194 yards. That's what he needs to break Calvin Johnson's single-season record.
So Mahomes and Jefferson have their eyes on records. Other guys have their eyes on some money, incentives related, both for Jacksonville here, Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. This is what it comes down to for Christian Kirk here, guys. $500,000 if he gets 2 receptions, $1 million if he gets 12 receptions, and then for Zay Jones, $250,000 if he gets 2 receptions, $500,000 if he gets 12 receptions. I'm not saying they get a fantasy boost from this because they each just need 2 catches, but obviously the low bar is very much in play. The 12 seems like a long shot.
Tennessee's allowed double-digit receptions to a wide receiver 4 times this season. 4 different times they've given up 10 receptions to a wide receiver. They've allowed the 3rd most receptions per game to wide receivers so far this season. So Kirk, who only needs 2 receptions to get $500,000, think he gets it. I don't know about the 12 to your point for Zay Jones, but yeah, $250K, $250,000 to Zay Jones if they just get the 2 catches. So interesting. We do expect good games from both those guys against literally the worst pass defense in the NFL over the last month with the Tennessee Titans.
Jay, 2 here for the Chargers, Gerald Everett and DeAndre Carter. For Gerald Everett right here, $250,000 if he catches 5 passes, so needs a pretty solid game to hit that mark from the tight end position. And then DeAndre Carter, $500,000 if he gets 55 receiving yards, another $500,000 if he catches 2 touchdowns. I don't think they're going to be looking or trying that hard to get him those 2 touchdowns, but obviously a boost for the receiving yards.
Yeah, to me, these are the 2 most interesting ones. This is the sweet spot, like the Jones and Kirk one, like they do that anyway. And also, it's basically a playoff game, so they're not going to go out of their way to, be feeding guys for incentives. This game is largely meaningless for the Chargers. They can lock into the 5 or the 6 seed, but, I mean, those are the type of stat lines where you would force feed them. And then you would see the NFL films on the sideline of, I'm celebrating. Yeah, I just got $500,000.
Right. And the other thing is that by the time this game plays, it's a very good chance that they will have been locked into the 5 seed. And whatever the results of this game is, the Chargers game, it won't matter. So, yes, in a game in which, hey, we know we're already the 5 seed, why don't we just let's go get some incentives. I won't say his name on air, but one of my favorite stories is, this is back in the day in the NBA, a buddy of mine who was a PR director for an NBA team. And he noticed that on the last game of the season that their center, who was, a good player but sometimes underperforming, he said to the center pregame, he goes, hey, I just noticed I was going through some incentive stuff and, it's probably a long shot, but I just want to let you know you're 7 blocks away from a $500,000 bonus, just something, just whatever, last game. He got 7 blocks in the first quarter. This guy did.
Wow.
7 and it ended up, I think, with 9 for the game or something like that, but literally got 7 blocks in the first quarter. And they were like, where's this been all year long?
Yep. I think we'd probably be able to piece together who that was based on that. But yeah. Surely not many guys have gotten 7 blocks.
Little research.
Yeah, congratulations to Hassan Whiteside.
Oh, man. That's unbelievable. All right, let's look through some backups to target, especially the games with that. You can't get over that. It's unreal.
It was not Hassan Whiteside.
Mr. Brightside.
With low motivation here, some backups. Obviously, not the backups with low motivation, but in games with low motivation. We're getting through it right now. We're getting through it. Let's start with Keyshawn Vaughn here, where this would be the assumption that Todd Bowles, despite him saying they have a lot of things they need to work on, Leonard Fournette has dealt with a lot of different injuries this year. Guys, Rachaad White could get some rest. Where do you consider Keyshawn Vaughn as any streaming potential if you think these guys, or is it DFS situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
I mean, it's just one to sort of be aware of. Let's see if Fournette or White rest. If we get a preseason report, if we get a late Saturday night report, or even if one of those guys is inactive, it would be interesting. Like, he's had 4 career games where he's gotten double-digit touches and he's averaging over 54 yards per game. And it's a great matchup, obviously, against the Falcons, who've allowed the 8th most rushing yards per game to opposing running backs.
Yep, no, I'm with you there. And I think that, look, the Bucs, their season's been such a mess. The offense has been such a mess. Finally got on track a little bit against Carolina. They cannot have injuries derail their game against very likely the Cowboys. So I think whatever told, all right, fine. They're not going to play their guys throughout the game.
Yeah, especially with a veteran offense, too. It's a lot of older players on the skill side of things. All right, so let's look at one, though, that I think could have a bigger impact, but the problem is the matchup. Matt Breida against the Eagles. Saquon Barkley should not even be active in this game, I think it's safe to say. I think the problem here for Matt Breida would be he's going up against a Philly team that needs to win the game, and that defense is pretty dang good.
It really is. I mean, so Breida would just be kind of a volume-based play. We would expect them to try to run the ball a decent amount. He is a nice pass catcher as well. Again, so for me, Breida would just be sort of a volume-based flex, right, in a tough matchup against Philadelphia.
Yep.
But the positives is that even if they're down big, like, he's not coming off the field, really.
Yep. I think of all the rest candidates who haven't officially been ruled out, I would say that Saquon Barkley is literally the shortest favorite to get rested, just given his injury history. Also, you can't, protect running backs and just give them, Daniel Jones might be out there for a series and it's all quick stuff where he's not under pressure, but Saquon Barkley,
he's going to get hit.
Yeah, that's what the running backs get hit. So I don't think he's going to play. But they're 14-point dogs, so it's going to be a grind for Matt Breida, but maybe he gets in the end zone.
Like I said, it's a volume-based flex play.
Back to the Chargers game here, where obviously it's pretty hard to predict because they could know their situation going into the game. But with them, Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly, they could see rest, depending on what the situation leads into the game, which a guy that's been inactive for a large part of the year is Isaiah Spiller, promising rookie running back. But if they go into this game and have to protect Eckler, which they should, Spiller could be active.
Especially if they know, by the way, going into the game that they are locked into the 5 seed.
Nothing to play for.
Right, exactly. So Isaiah Spiller going against the Broncos, Denver allows over 97 rushing yards per game. They give up 4.5 yards per carry. We would expect, by the way, in that scenario that they're not only resting Eckler, but they're probably resting Justin Herbert. We expect Keenan Allen and Mike Williams to maybe they play a series or two, but for the most part, they're going to be sitting down. So, yeah, Isaiah Spiller, who I loved coming out of Texas A&M, a really talented running back, kind of a trendy preseason favorite, got hurt, and then was, sort of bypassed on the depth chart by Josh Kelly as the backup to Eckler. But you could see a healthy run, pardon the pun, for Isaiah Spiller in this one.
Good pun there, Matthew. I like that one.
Thank you very much. Keep that one in your back pocket for the future, Jay.
Yeah.
Learn a thing or two.
Unbelievable.
Again, I'm Denny Carter at Hawkinson.
Denny doesn't deserve this.
No, he does. He absolutely does. I think Isaiah Spiller, it is the perfect spot as well because the game's not going to mean anything. Anthony Brown's not beating Joe Burrow and the Bengals. That would be, the Bengals are now trending towards, they're minus 500 money line to beat the Ravens. I suspect that's probably going to close minus 700 once Brown is confirmed. And so, you get your talented rookie run in a game that doesn't really mean anything. It's an ideal spot for him.
Yeah, and I'll just, while we're in this section, I'll just mention one real quickly that Brian Robinson is not practicing today. Antonio Gibson obviously already on IR, so Jonathan Williams could be in for a big workload against the Dallas Cowboys as Sam Howell takes over under center. Again, another game in which Commanders just playing out the string.
Did you get excited yesterday with the 8th seed?
I did. For a minute there, I was just like, we're back in.
We
as
got
well.
a shot there at breakfast, and we looked at each other. Commanders, Jets.
Commanders, Jets. We're back alive.
Yeah.
You know?
I was excited for the Taylor Heineke, Joe Flacco Super Bowl.
Yeah, Connor tweeted out just when I think about they pull me back in.
Yeah.
You're right, exactly.
That's how we felt. It was a good breakfast.
It was a very good breakfast.
All hope was pulled away.
We had a hopeful breakfast.
Yes.
There are some breakfasts, I'm not going to lie, especially here in Vegas, where hope is not the prevailing emotion.
No, it's not the nectar.
Yes, but yesterday was a hopeful breakfast.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, before the weekend ends, basically, if you're looking to make a bet before the playoff picture is cemented, Jay, kind of want to start with the NFC title odds here, but what are some teams that you'd rather get in now because you think you can predict what's going to happen this weekend and the odds are going to significantly change by the end of Sunday night?
Yep, so I don't understand why the Eagles aren't prohibitive favorites to win the NFC. I think people are just kind of, because they lost 2 games with Gardner Minshew, but like, why are their odds and the Niners' odds so close when the Eagles, again, are 14-point favorites? And if they win that game and they get the 1 seed, have to play 1 less game than San Francisco. And that San Francisco extra game might be against Aaron Rodgers. So I think the Eagles...
With Brock Purdy.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, the Niners might be 5.5 point favorites in that game, but it's still going to be Brock Purdy against Aaron Rodgers in a playoff game. So I think the Eagles should be more like plus 160. I think they should be the clear favorite. They're going to get healthier. Hurts comes back. Josh Sweat, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. They got guys coming back, Lane Johnson. So I think they're the best team, and they're going to have the 1 seed. So I think they're the team to bet.
I would agree with you there, though. I will say I don't mind the Cowboys at plus 500.
Sure.
The Cowboys are good enough. Everything would need to break right. I do think they're the 3rd best team. I do think the Niners and Eagles are both better than the Cowboys, but it wouldn't be crazy to see Dallas in a Super Bowl.
No, and also Dallas are going to play, almost certainly going to play Tampa Bay in Tampa week 1, and the Cowboys in that game are going to be 4.5 point favorites. So even though it's on the road, the Cowboys are significantly better than the Bucs.
So we took a look at the NFC odds. The AFC odds are obviously a bit in flux right now, so we don't have that board. But Jay, even not getting away from the odds, who's just a team that you like right now, knowing how the market is ultimately going to settle?
So I think the team that is really rising is the Chargers. And if they're likely going to get the 5 seed, they play Jacksonville or Tennessee. Chargers be favored in that game, even on the road. So I think they're the team to watch. The problem is that after that, then you've got to play 2 of Cincinnati, Buffalo, Kansas City on the road to get to the Super Bowl. That's just too brutal. So again, I find that with playoff odds, if you want to back an underdog, just back them game by game on the money line, and it's often better to back the favorite. So I think Kansas City is still the best bet because they have the 1 seed.
I would agree.
All right, let's look at the Super Bowl odds now. This is obviously the most difficult to predict compared to the title games here, Jay, but I know there's been one team you've been since we arrived here. You've been screaming it, and it's been gradually moving. It was not this when we got here, but who are you looking at with the Super Bowl odds board?
Yes, so, well, Kansas City Chiefs, going out on a limb, I'm going to say Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. I think that if you add up the money lines of what they'll be in each game, and yes, the neutral site game does mess with things a little bit, but just having to not play the extra game, having to very likely not have to play Cincinnati in round 2, which Buffalo are potentially looking at. And this is all predicated on the Chiefs taking care of business against the Raiders, which I suspect they will. But again, to me, the 2 best bets, Chiefs, Eagles. I don't agree with the Eagles being longer than the Niners when they're likely going to have to play 1 less game.
All right, Barry, a fun one here. We don't get to do a ton of DFS on this show throughout the season because we're so focused on regular fantasy. But Saturday, slate of games, and I know you have your rankings for the week, and I want to pull those up in just a bit here to show Barry's rankings for DFS, just in general. But who are some key players you're locking in on, some sleepers as we see some guys get a chance to finally play?
I'm willing to pay up at tight end for Travis Kelce in this one, $7,900 on DraftKings, 8 or more targets in 13 of the 16 games he has played this season, and of course, they're playing the Las Vegas Raiders. How about Travis Etienne right there? 3 straight games with over 110 scrimmage yards. He's 6,700. Really like him quite a lot. I have him obviously as a top 12 play this week. And if you want to sort of punt quarterback, how about Jarrett Stidham at 5,400? Kansas City has allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to quarterbacks. They are heavy underdogs in this game. Stidham did look good last week against San Francisco. The expectation here is that he is going to have to throw early and often against Kansas City.
Yep. I like stacking the Jags wide receivers as well. I just think that Peterson, if he does, I still like ETN because of the touchdown potential, but ETN's probably going to be inefficient in terms of his yards per carry, and that's secondary for Tennessee, which has been so poor. And Lawrence has been playing like a top top 7 quarterback in the league for a couple of months at this point. So I think they'll be throwing. And so guys like Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Engram should benefit.
Don't forget, they have the 12-catch incentive, Jay.
Yeah.
So if one of them can do it,
Yeah.
it's sitting out there.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, okay, respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.